starting. And we saw against A&M and Ole Miss, when we punted the ball, there wasn't any issues.
Yeah.
So I think special teams is improving, and I think the main reason why special teams wasn't that good originally was because of COVID. You don't have an off season, and also with COVID, there was a lot of guys quarantined. If you don't remember when all of the campus at Arkansas kind of came back, there was a pretty bad outbreak of COVID. So you had players testing positive. Those players couldn't get onto the field to practice, and then those around them couldn't get onto the field to practice. So not only did you have situations where you had a ton of guys out, you also had injuries later in the season. So when you're starting guys who are like third, fourth, fifth string guys, former walk-ons, maybe walk-ons now, who arguably weren't developed at all under Chad Morris. You look at Chad Morris and the way he treated walk-ons was despicable, considering how good the walk-ons have been this year. Those are the same dudes Chad Morris wouldn't even take a look at. And Hudson Clark has 3 interceptions in one game. Grant Morton is playing so good. I think overall this special teams unit has a ways to go, and I think it's been lackluster, but I think it has a large part due to COVID and the amount of injuries that we saw this year. And, the injuries can be even thrown back to COVID, as this team wasn't able to get in the locker room as much as they would have, weight room as much as they would have because of COVID, because the fall camp kind of got moved towards July. And in July, you normally have the ball ban, and then players are lifting all the time. They get bigger, and then that makes us a more physical team. Because if you look at any of the games we played, we have been the smaller team on the field, but that didn't matter, as we should be 3-2, which just goes to show you how much fight this team has in them. And special teams, though, going back over there, I'm going to give them a C. And I think that, some people may consider that generous. But like I said, we got a ways to go. It's been on the incline. Struggle with COVID and injuries. And I think this is the hardest spot to grade with the midseason, just because of everything that we've had to deal with in the year of 2020 and that effect on it, and the whole shift of, off-season camps and all that. But, we have a ways to go, but I think we'll get there, especially with Scott Fountain. A lot of people doubt him, but, you just got to give it time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like I said, I think it's going to be a more gradual rise, but I do think our defense can see a lot of improvement. Not defense, our special teams, what I meant, my bad.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like you said, though, it's going to be more gradual improvement. Obviously, we are blessed by the defense and the offense just soaring up, and playing so good. Special teams really didn't go up as much as them, so I think that kind of, skews the, how you look at it.
Yeah.
But overall, what would you give this team?
I'm going to put it at an A-. I'd say you have to be thankful that this team they're playing for us again. They're passionate about Arkansas. They're passionate about the fans. They're into it again. And that's something I love to see. It's nice to be excited about Arkansas again. And you would not have expected that last year when we were just so down and out, going 2-10 back-to-back years. Attendance was horrible. Just seeing the improvement from the Chad Morris era to the Sam Pittman era is awesome. And while, like I've said, there are a couple of things that need to be worked on, just how well the offense has improved, how much the defense has improved, and how much better the staff is. I'm going to definitely have them at A-.
Yeah, I had on my sheet an A- as well, basically for the same reasons. So much more improvement. Felipe Franks, he's balling out. The offense looks really good. Barry Odom has flipped this defense, and special teams has a little ways to go, but I think special teams really isn't as important, so I wouldn't let it, bring down the overall grade of this team. A-, though, is definitely something I would agree with. Now, that is all for today's episode of All Hog Sports. Thank you for Arkansas Football fan page on Instagram for coming out and doing this episode with me. I highly encourage everybody to go check them out. It's just at Arkansas Football fan page on Instagram. No dots, no hashes, none of that. Definitely one of the best football fan pages out there, along with a couple others. So go drop him a follow. Check out his content over there. And if you like what you hear in today's episode, you can check out my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at All Hog Sports Pod. All social medias and ways to listen are at allhogsports.com. I'll be back on Monday with a recap of the Tennessee game. And as always, whoop pig.
That's all for today's episode of All Hog Sports with Sam Stimpson. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode covering all Arkansas Razorback sports. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media too. On Twitter and Instagram at All Hog Sports Pod. Like on Facebook at All Hog Sports and Arkansas Razorbacks Podcast. And on YouTube at that same name. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Go Hogs!